Now this module is going to talk about deals, and that's really the whole point of this accelerator, is to bring storage providers on that can store real data. So we'll talk briefly about how that works. Again, all of the detailed documents will really help give you the specifics of how that's done. Now, in order for a storage provider to store deals, the data has to first be transformed into CAR files. That's content addressable archiving files. And those are no larger than the sector size that a storage provider supports. And that's either 32 gig or 64 gig. Look in the detailed documentation for this module, and we'll show exactly how that's done. The general types of deals that are done are classified as either online or offline. And I'll briefly describe what that means. Online deals use the embedded Lotus Graph Sync protocol for transferring files from clients through the internet. Offline deals, however, use Lotus to accept or reject deal proposals, but then they do not use Lotus to actually transfer the data. Once the data is transferred, however, the Lotus import function is used to ingest the CAR file into the system. Now, offline deals can be manually handled or automated. Offline deals can have the data transmitted over a network through manual process such as an HTTP type download, or they can even be shipped by storage device such as hard drives, where you then plug it into your system and transfer the data locally. The Lotus client always expects the incoming file to be a CAR file and the size in a multiple of 2. That could be 256 bytes, it could be 2 gigs, 4 gigs, up to 32 or 64 gig, depending upon the limit of the system. Now, there are brokers that can handle deal ingestion and transforming the data into the appropriate CAR file. So this diagram really shows 3 variants of this. The first row on top shows the customer data in its raw format coming in, and then the Lotus client has to process that into a CAR file, again in multiple of 2, then that gets transferred as a CAR file to the Lotus market as part of a deal-making process and goes into the storage provider for long-term storage. The second row is a broker, such as estuary.tech, and they'll accept data really in any size. And within Estuary, they will then chop it up into smaller pieces, convert it to a CAR, so that that's handled by Estuary and not the Lotus client directly. Lotus client is a process within Estuary, and then they send those deals to Lotus markets online as well. Offline deals require a deal proposal, like all deals, from the client. But then the data transfer is handled by the storage provider. So the example above shows BidBot. It's an auction system for clients. The storage provider configures the parameters for their bids, how much they're willing to pay, what size, all those parameters that you have to have. And then when the storage provider wins an auction, the BidBot triggers a deal proposal, and that's followed by an automated download of the BidBot client. And so that's shown with those 2 sets of arrows going both directions. You have the BidBot client running on the Lotus Markets node. That's where the configuration takes place. That's where the auction bids take place, going back to Textile. Once the bid is won, and that's determined by the Textile BidBot host, that's when the proposal starts from the Lotus client within BidBot, hosted by Textile, to the Lotus Market BidBot client. Upon winning the bid and accepting the proposal, the process that's running on Lotus Markets then triggers an automated download through their software. So that's handled automatically for you. I want to describe some of the deal tools that are third-party tools that are out there. As I mentioned earlier, the Lotus client can be manually configured and you can set up deals that way, but in reality for enterprise class storage providers, you're not going to be making deals one at a time. You're going to be doing large batches of deals. So as enterprise storage providers, you can use these tools to help in a variety of ways. And I'll describe each of these tools. You're not limited to these tools. There's other tools in the ecosystem, but these are 3 good examples of what's available. Until Filecoin virtual machine, or FVM, is available for storage deal renewals, Estuary today can handle the renewal process for deals. In the future, that'll be on-chain through FVM, and then the various clients can actually specify deal renewals and payments for that. Today, the deals have an expiration date that has to be manually renewed. In the case of Textile, they have a process called direct-to-provider, or D2P. And this is a variant on the auction system of the BidBot client. And this is a case where storage providers, can use this D2P process to distribute replicas of deals that they are processing for their customers. So in this case, the storage provider is actually acting on behalf of a customer and sending additional deals out to other storage providers now that they've got the first copy. And in conjunction with that, we'll use a tool like PowerGate from Textile.io as well. And this is really a powerful extension to the basic native Lotus client. However, it's got some API integration and ability to integrate into our system so that we can do automation on the car file creation when the storage provider is acting also as a broker for customers. Next, we'll talk about deal flow management. That's particularly important. Storage and retrieval deals require capacity management, as well as other factors such as variable pricing. Now, the most rudimentary tool we have in Lotus is the config.toml that's stored in the Lotus Markets directory. And there you can script responses to deal requests. You can use Perl, you can use Python, but the logic becomes overwhelming if you have sophisticated deals. So many of us have looked at third-party tools such as CID Gravity, which allows fine-grained, detailed deal logic to be performed with a very simple user interface. I can set specific clients to get specific prices based on deal duration, deal size, the deal type, as well as I can rate limit the data flow that they send to me. So it's very helpful to have all these different controls. Another important aspect of deal flow management is the ability to rate limit deals by size or by deal count, by time, so that your market node is not overwhelmed by too many deals. So as an example, let's say you're getting 100 TIB per day of deals, but your system can only handle 10 TIB a day. You'll quickly run out of space, or your incoming deals will expire if they sit too long, as each deal has a start epoch that is when a deal must be on chain. This start epoch can vary from 1 day to 2 weeks. Each deal is required to have a start epoch, and that has to be taken into account with the time it takes to download the data, to import it into Lotus, publish your storage deal messages, and seal them and get them proving. In addition to deal capacity, your storage repo is also limited in capacity, and you never want your disks to reach 100% capacity. So Lotus provides a max storage limit per storage repo. Now you can have multiple storage repos, and this will make sure that it does not overfill any of the repos that are approaching capacity. Additionally, you have expired sectors. Each sector has an expiration date. Those sometimes can be extended, but once they've expired today, you need to manually remove those in order to utilize your storage space effectively. That could be scripted as well, but you need to manage it today. I also want to talk about deal flow and costs. Now, blockchains impose a gas fee for putting messages on-chain, and Filecoin is no different. The slide above is an example of costs I was paying in February of 2022 on a machine with 700 TIB of adjusted power. Remember, fill costs vary over time with changes in network activity and size. So the numbers I'm using above, both the fill prices and the converted US dollar prices, all of that continues to change. So these are just representative of a snapshot of 1 day in time. Above, we see the life cycle and the fees of a deal as it goes from acceptance to daily proving from a simple online deal. Now, there are 4 basic messages that we see on a regular basis: publish storage deal, pre-commit, commit, and then every day a daily window post. There are also other gas fees associated with sending fill from one wallet to another wallet, as well as early termination and penalties for faults. As an enterprise storage provider, you may also provide additional value-add services that are not part of the core Lotus features currently available, such as encryption or file chunking. Here's an example of a scripting process we created for a very specific customer to handle their requirements. In addition to customer scripts, we also integrated tools such as PowerGate and Direct-to-Provider to automate the deal flow of hundreds of thousands of those deals. Thank you very much.